Greetings and welcome. This is Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you are doing well today. Alright, trigger warning. The subject matter is of a mature nature and deals with true crime events. And all cases are treated as alleged until proven in a court of law. Now, we are all familiar with the Knox case. And there's been several court cases, several convictions, several acquittals, and ultimately one conviction to the gentleman by the name of Rudy, and Amanda and her boyfriend at the time, Raphael, both served a few years in prison, I believe, 4 years. Well, 4 years. And so there's been a lot of, even while I was doing this case now, let me just give you a bit of preamble before we get into it. I've technically done the case twice, because there is a lot of deception and deceit going on here. All right, so the backstory, of course, Meredith was found murdered on November the 2nd in 2007. And she had been found in the before sunset on November the 2nd. And you'll note on November the 1st, she left a group of friends at about 9:15 in the evening. So this case takes place from where you see the arrow pointing down and to the first block the next day where the arrow is pointing inside. So it's an overnighter thing. Now, there's a case that I'm trying to recall where, gosh, I'll get it. But the young man in the relationship always felt he had to prove himself to his girlfriend. And I believe we have the same situation here. Not only that, and we'll get into it, I will show you. But not only that, I believe Amanda coerced and manipulated situations and people. I believe there were also lies going around here pre the murder. There were a lot of things going on that these kids were doing. Now, we have to try and look past that, and that is the drug situation, the orgies situation, the sexual energies going on around here. And when I was just refreshing myself on the case, I read the write-up on Amanda, I read the write-up on Meredith, I read some of Raphael, and I read of Rudy. Now I'm going to start off by saying, I believe Rudy is not guilty in this case. And I will show it. So, the time that the case or the murder happens, November 5, in this case, November 5 in the blue block will be the summary day. Will give us a reflection of what happened and who's involved with this murder between November 1, November 2. But certainly a lot of deception and lies going on here. All right, so let's have a look at this. On October the 31, I think is important because I believe it sets a bit of a theme here, or tone, when we think of Halloween. Won't you do this for me on Halloween? You know, that kind of nonsense. Young kids wanting to be evil or being evil. Let's put it that way. Young kids being evil. For Amanda, July 9, 1987. We note the 25/7 in the year that she's born. We also note the 16/7 in the day. And she has an outcome 14/5 with a 5 outcome. Now, in the negative, and we see how the negative plays out. For example, the 14/5 plays out in the Murdaugh murders. Alec Murdaugh was a 14/5. Liar, bullshitter, manipulator, corrupt individual. Now, that is on the negative. It's not to say if you have a 14/5 life path with a 5 outcome that I've just described, you know. This is a circumstances with 4 different people here on a particular evening, on a particular date, and you'll know once you read through the book that I'm about to release, once you put numbers together in a mix, they behave almost like a chemical reaction. Now, if you had to take each number individually and say a 5 means this and that and this, that's one thing. But when you put it into a mix of other numbers and other dates, it's the same when humans interact. There's interaction going on, same situation. But of course, when we're dealing with a negative event like this is, a very tragic event, and I believe Meredith was betrayed here because of Amanda's, I wouldn't know how to describe it, but Amanda's jealousy of who Meredith was, in a sense, particularly with the one person she was friends with, an Italian gentleman. The Raphael, who was born on March 26, 1984, has a 13/4 in the day, and in the year he has a 22/4. In fact, I'm just going to make a change here. The 22/4 on November the 22nd was now currently pink, which pings on Meredith. But I believe in this case, I'm going to change it to red. It was originally red. Like I say, I've done this twice, and I've come back to the same conclusion in both cases. Both scenarios had the same outcome. So to verify myself, I just reread everything, make sure I've got the dates and times correct. And the outcome is exactly the same as I had it originally. But there was and is still a lot of deceptive energy around this. Now, October 31, I believe, had a role in what was about to take place with Meredith. Because on October 31, apart from being the obvious Halloween day, some believe some portals are opened. But I can tell you in October 31, there was a cesspool going on here of drugs, orgies, lots of things going on here. And we'll note on October 31, we have that 41.5 present in the middle of the day, 41.5, which pings directly on Amanda Knox, 41.5. And I'll give you a backstory about the 41.5, just from a practical, in this case, scenario. I almost didn't include the 41.5 with Amanda because I felt, for me, the 14.5 and the 5 was enough evidence for me. But I went with Spirit and I included the 41.5. And that was before I put out the actual date sequence. And on October 31, we found the 41.5. And let me just say, the 41.5, I actually just mentioned that now, I believe, with the Michaela case. I beg your pardon. The 41.5, let me just double check here quickly. Yes. So there was a 41.5 in the, there it is there, case of Haley Dunn. Now, we'll recall with Haley Dunn's show, there was a lot of drugs and alcohol going on in that household. So, again, we have the 41.5 and the 50.509. This is all drugs, orgy, opulence, just terrible, just over the top. Let's just say that, over the top. But that entire day pings directly on Amanda. In fact, I'm going to just put another square in here as well. It's just for me, this is a very significant link in the story. 14.55, I'm just going to put a square around there, and I'm going to include it on her now. There's too many matches here, ladies and gentlemen. And let me just say, that 14.5 of Amanda, in the negative, can tell you the best lies in the world. And with that nature, she will believe her own lies, which gives her the ability to sit through hours and hours and hours and hours of interrogation. She wouldn't care. You can ask her 10 incriminating questions, she'll still give you her lie, even though she knows she is lying. That's what a 14.5 in the worst case scenario can do. Exactly what Alec Murdoch did. Lied about his wife and son. That's what a 14.55 can do in the negative. Now, the reason why I say October 31 is significant apart from the Halloween issue is we have two numbers there that are very destructive. 31.4 is a breaking down of humans. 41.5 also is just debauchery, destruction. And I believe something goes on here in October 31 that triggers Amanda to take care of Meredith. Actually, just thinking about it now, I haven't done a ping test for either of them. I'm just checking their numbers. So obviously, well, Amanda has a 9 in the day, but it's not, it's kind of brushes on Meredith's life path 9. And let me just say, while we're looking at their date of birth, Meredith has very powerful nines. Higher learning, higher self. She has a power number 22-4. 13-4 as well. Very studious. 44 studious. She has the propensity to do very well in the higher learning space. Very intelligent, gift to the gab. Very lovely numbers. Whereas Amanda, she actually has 4 sevens there. Now, if unchecked, those 4 sevens can be detrimental. Like very detrimental. There's very little else that connects them except for the 5. Meredith has a 5 in the year that she's born, a 23-5, and Amanda has the 41-5 and 14-5. So there's a 5 match there as well. So with their matches, 5 in the main, these two will bump heads. They didn't know each other. They happened to be living in the same digs or apartment. It wasn't only students. Apparently there were young lawyers living there as well, locals, Italians. So when you got someone that has, 2 people have a 5 each, and where they are positioned, there's going to be problems. And I still get the sense now, it just went over me again. I believe there was a jealousy issue here with Amanda and Meredith. Amanda was jealous of Meredith. And when you have that many sevens, particularly also the 16-7, famous serial killer number, serial offender, lots of insecurities. Now, this is the thing with people with 7s. People with 7s have deep-rooted insecurities. Which confirms the feeling I'm getting about her. Like she's jealous of Meredith. Definitely. And with those 7s, lots of jealousy issues, insecurity issues. And this is where I believe the cracks were starting to form. And, you know, I haven't traveled in these circles at all, but, you know, these people who are swingers and that kind of thing, orgies and that kind of thing, you always hear that, yeah, don't get emotions involved and it's just this and it's just that. Nonsense. Nonsense. So let's say there's a situation going on, and if Meredith did something to someone Amanda liked, that would freak her out. So when we get to November the 1st, 2001, it's reported that Meredith that afternoon, evening, had spent time with her friends, other friends, English friends, group of women, and she left there at 20:45 in the evening. So between 20:45 in the evening till approximately 1 p.m. is when the murder took place. It's reported that Amanda arrived there in the morning, but I couldn't find the exact time. But Raphael managed to get local police or whatever, and they kicked the door down just after 1 p.m. So the crime happens from 9:15 in the evening on November 1 till the following day morning. I believe it was done early hours of the morning, so it would have been done midnight to late morning of November the 2nd. Now, my feeling about Rudy is he can pop over for a drink or pop over and drop off some stash, they have some fun and he leaves. But I believe he was still there when the crime took place. But I believe the person that entered the scene, Raphael, and we note the 13-4 on November the 2nd, 13-4. Of course, it pings on Meredith as well, but there's no coincidence that it pings on Raphael as well. Now, some may argue and say, well, he was instrumental in calling the police, calling his local relative, what should I do? Our friend is stuck in the room, we can't get hold of her. That's one thing, but it doesn't mean that he couldn't have been there earlier that morning, or like between midnight and before sunrise. Raphael also has the 22-4. So there's a lot of pings so far in Raphael, but what I want to say, in the crime scene situation, you want to find direct matches, at least significant matches on the crime scene with the suspect, potential suspects. And for me, Rudy does not ping on November the 2nd. The coroner report is saying she died on November the 1st. But I believe she passed between midnight and early hours morning of November the 2nd. So technically it would fall, let me just do it will fall with the 11, 2, 2, and 9. So that we get the outcome 13-4, which is a death. We got the presence of the 9s, murder. The only person at the crime scene is Raphael at the center of the crime scene. Now, Rudy, according to him, maybe have been in a bathroom, comes out, finds Meredith has been attacked. But that also feels a little bit strange because according to the autopsy report, she had a large amount of bruises. Several or many defensive wounds. And of course, the fatal cut. So for me, that would create a lot of something's not adding up here. I actually did a ghost shadow day. I just want to just check something again. I'll be quick. 31, 32, 33. So this also confirms for me that there's some element tied in with 31 October, Halloween, with this case. 52/7, 16/7 again. So even the ghost day brings up Amanda. Now I brought the ghost day in just so we continue energy. I'm just repositioning some stuff here, beg your pardon. I'm bringing in this ghost day, what would have been or what is November the 2nd, would also be October 33. Now don't take October 33 literal. It's just, I'm checking energy here. We all agree that October does not have 33 days. But I'll be able to see the energy. And we got 33/6 as a murderous number in the negative. So there's a problem there. That's why I believe the murder happened between midnight and 6 a.m. or sunrise. The murder took place between midnight and sunrise. Now we'll note the summary day. The summary day, November 5, 2007. So here we have the day starting with a 5, which is already a red flag. I'm going to just read it here. And of course, it does ping on Amanda, but it also tells me, again, a lot of lies and deception going on around here. And of course, it pings on Amanda. And then we have the 16/7 in the day, which pings directly on the 16/7 of Amanda in the day, with an outcome 25/7, 16/7. Those are all pinging on Amanda. And that's what I'm saying with Rudy. There's no matches. There's not enough significant matches here for me to put him there, or to make him the culprit. Now, let me just say, finding his DNA at the scene, I don't think is a big mystery. It's not like he's never been there before. He would have frequented that apartment before. So there's no big surprise there. And I also have a feel that the Italian government were desperate to make someone responsible. And this is the problem with these high-profile cases. The police are put in such a predicament because of public pressure that they forced into an action. And Rudy was definitely not the murderer here. So let's do this. If we had to compare Rudy and Raphael, So when we compare Rudy and Raphael, we note they both have an outcome 17-8. Okay. Now, in terms of who these people are, we'll note Rudy has the 44-8. That's a superpower number. Okay. Superpower number. And he has an 11-2 in the day. So this guy has serious power numbers. Okay. If we go to Raphael, we note the 35-8 there, which is where Rudy's 44-8 sits. 35-8 in a crime scene is a very terrible number. Harm to a human body. And he has that 31-4 in the day. 31-4, very destructive. We note the 31-4 on October 31. Oh, interesting, actually. So we got a 31-4 with Raphael. And I'm just going to mark it now quickly. 31-4. I'm going to make it red because this is quite significant. 31-4 in a crime scene is a very destructive number. And here we go, 31-4 on 31 October. So all the players are in. Amanda and Raphael very much present on October the 31st. There's big parties going on here. That's what I'm saying. Whatever happened on October 31st would trigger off the events as we know it today. So Amanda may have got jealous during that session or something. And this is the thing, you know, reading the reports, this because Rudy's fingerprints were at the scene doesn't make him the murderer. This because his DNA is at the scene doesn't make him the murderer. It doesn't. Because fingerprints and DNA can be placed at a scene. Doesn't make them the murderer. They could have had a relationship. They might have had a casual relationship. Doesn't make him a murderer. But what we do have is we have Raphael and Amanda at the scene. And I think in this case, the feeling that I keep getting, and I can't recall that case now, man, jeez. But I believe we have a young Raphael trying to do something good for Amanda. I mean, we'll recall the pictures when they were outside the house. And of course, the famous kiss. Was she thanking him? But certainly very odd. But I believe Amanda was the influencer. And Mr. Raphael obligated, or obliged, rather, obliged. And Raphael obliged. So to finish off Raphael and Rudy, Raphael has got not so nice numbers. The 26-8, high energy temper, foul language, and he's also got a stack of 8s, can be very, very aggressive. The 22-4, so you might say he looks very meek and mild in those pictures when he's outside the house as this little boy. But that 22-4 gives that boy impression. 4 always makes a male with 4s, generally they will look younger than their age. But within that young face of his, inside, we got a 26-8, we got a 35-8, and a 31-4. Like, you couldn't have built a killer better. And I believe Amanda swayed Raphael to go there and do the deed. And I'm sure Amanda would have been watching on some way or form. But for me, Raphael and Amanda's numbers are all over the scene here and present in the reflection day as well. This is what I was trying to get to, or understand what was happening here. And trust me, I've done this twice. Amanda, so my golden rule is, on the event day of a crime, the perpetrator's numbers must ping on the direct day as well. Okay? So in the case of November the 2nd, we have 13-4. So all the numbers ping on pretty much Raphael. But Raphael is not going to leave the warm bed of Amanda during the night to come out and kill Meredith and sneak back into bed. No. Because according to reports, and Amanda says, the two of them were together but at his place. She was pissed off at the end of October 31. The day ends with 14-5, and that 5 nonsense, whatever happened there, completely impacted Amanda completely, like direct impact. I don't want to give assumptions or examples of what might have happened, but I'm just saying, whatever happened pissed Amanda off completely. So the reason why we only see Raphael on the event day and not necessarily Amanda, but we see Amanda on the reflection day or the summary day, is because he was the operator, if you like. He did the deed, but it was under instruction from Amanda. Why don't you give me a nice Halloween present? Oh, what would you like, dear? And Rudy, whether he was coming and going, whatever was happening between him and Meredith, who cares? If they had a relationship, if it was just a casual drug thing or casual whatever, so be it. Doesn't make him the murderer. What it made him was the scapegoat. In this case, Rudy was definitely the scapegoat here. And the issue was the Italian police and government and whatever, because of the international attention. Ooh, there's an American that's in prison, put pressure on the system, and we know there were issues with the police and the whole others. This whole case was horrible. I even felt the energy when I was trying to do these slides. Terrible, terrible, terrible. That 22-4 on November the 2nd also says this was premeditated. It was planned. It was planned. It was thought out and planned. So the reason why we're seeing one person on the one day and one person on the other is because one was the operator and one was the mastermind. And funny enough, a few months ago, I looked at Amanda Knox. A few months ago. And then, of course, the comment came up again. And I thought, let me just look. And I can tell you now, when I did the reflection and summary day, and the 16-7 was popping up like winner, winner, winner. Definitely involved. The shadow day also confirms it. 16-7 outcome. 33-6. 43-7. I don't believe Rudy was guilty of murder in this case. And I'm just doing another double check here quickly. So we can say that Rudy is around, but he's not, he's like periphery around. He's not in the center around. So the people that are in the center are 13-4 and 16-7. And our two winners are Raphael and Amanda. And Rudy was hard done by. And this was all about jealousy. Amanda feeling underwhelmed by Meredith, beg your pardon. And maybe felt threatened by Meredith. And again, this is quite interesting. So Rudy versus Raphael. Rudy has far better numbers than Raphael. And then when you look at Amanda and Meredith, Meredith also has brilliant numbers. 22-4 power number. 22-4 power number. And she has the 18999 life path. Genius. High intelligence in Meredith. Amanda, and let me just also say, Meredith with her fours, she would be quite tight-knit. And to be, if you piss, let me just say, if you piss off or upset someone that is a 13-4, good luck. Good luck. 4s and 13-4. And if Amanda was trying to be friendly or be friends with Meredith, it would take a long time. In Meredith's real life, let's say at home in the UK, and not away in Italy. Of course, when you're away from your center, you're a bit more polite, you're a bit more sociable, you're a bit more outgoing, a bit more engaging. But in the home, around her real friends, at home in the UK, she would have a close knit of friends. To get into that circle of friends, you need a DNA test, blood samples, 10 years of loyalty, maybe, all that kind of level. 4s don't need lots of friends. And when you look at Amanda with all those 7s, my goodness, I promise you, 4 7s. It would be quite easy in a worst case scenario, when you have an imbalance of 7s like that, that is losing control about control with all those 7s. So let me try to explain it better. If Amanda felt she was not getting control or have control of Meredith, and let me tell you, 4s is like talking to a big boulder rock. You ain't going nowhere. And to try and knock on that door on 4s will be frustrating. Can be gut-wrenching. And when you tip those scales of 7s, and I believe something happened on October the 31st, Amanda could not see her way or gain control of the situation other than getting rid of the problem or getting rid of the issue. Very convenient that Amanda and Raphael would be cuddled up in bed in another place. Very convenient, the 2 perpetrators creating their own alibi. But I can tell you now, their numbers ping directly on the event day, as well as the reflective day, as well as the ghost day. And in the 2 versions of this I've done, I've now, in both cases, come out to the same outcome as the original outcome. Amanda and Raphael at the scene. Right, ladies and gentlemen, it's unfortunate for young Meredith there, because she also once again had beautiful numbers, high propensity for learning, the Buddha numbers, higher self numbers, inventive numbers, the innovator, creative, 22-4 powerhouse number that gets taken away by 2 weirdos. All right, let me know what your thoughts are. And do engage with the comments. And I will see you in the next one. Please stay safe and stay alert.